Hi, cutie pies. It is Lanickia, and I am coming to you with another video for the Young and the Restless. This is for 3/16/2022 on a Wednesday. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Okay, y'all. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this. You know what? I'm not mad at it. I would give it probably an 8. Just because it was so much information that's moving the story along. And so I like when they do that, when they move the story along instead of having the same saying the same thing for like 3 days in a row. So and they're adding people into the story. Okay, so Victoria is talking to Nick, right? And so she's just we pick up where we left off yesterday, where she's saying, can this be true? Like, can this be real? Could he really have done this like me like this? And it was what I was telling y'all yesterday, that she does not want to believe that Ashland has played her like this. She does not want to believe that the man that she's been married to, going to bed every night with, sharing her life with, she don't want to believe that this man was faking the whole time about how much he loved her, especially because she loves him. She doesn't want to believe he's been faking this whole time. So Nick said, listen, I get it. It's hard to think that somebody would do you like this. It's hard to think that, someone would betray you that type of way, and it was a con the whole time. He said, but I'm not here to judge, because she was going on that whole thing about the last time I trusted you, you deceived me and all that. And he said, listen, I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to put any thoughts in your head. I'm just here to listen. So she did start opening up to him and telling him, I the mounting evidence against Ashland is so much that I am having a hard time not believing it, even though she doesn't want to believe it. It's so much evidence, she'd be crazy. He says, you're very analytical, Victoria. What is your mind saying? Like, you think things through. So if you're starting to have doubts, it's because you're not feeling something is off with this, because she's just like Victor. Like, she wants to get to the bottom of it. And so she's just like, he said, she says, he told her, I know about the doctors in doing the video. And she starts to tell him about how the doctor's money, that he was being paid off with, came from the lock company, a lock company, that they own now. And she said, it could have easily went under the radar. You had to be looking to find that kind of information. And she's just like, Ashlyn is trying to say it was dad. She said, but that's so amateur and childish and immature. She said, like that, like his defense, he doesn't have one. He can't explain any of this away except to say that dad is behind all of this. And she said, and I know that's not true. And she was like, he's not even attempting to find somebody who could possibly be behind this. So Nick has really got her opening up to him, and she's on the verge of telling him she's not trusting Ashland. And then, so while she's doing this, Ashlyn is over there talking to Nate. Because remember, Nate yesterday was like, I'm snitching. I'm telling the Newmans that you did this. You wrong for this. Okay, so Nate is over there, and he said, I can't believe that you were pretending to be sick this whole time. And he says, there's no record of you even having chemo treatments or anything. And Ashlyn tells Nate, I would never do this. And he says, well, the proof is starting to look like you did. The evidence looks like you did. And he says, you better think long and hard. Ashlyn tells Nate, you better think long and hard before you do anything rash. He said, is that a threat? And Ashlyn was like, no, I'm just saying, you wouldn't want to be the person that goes to Victoria and hurts her with this false information, especially when I prove that it's not true. And Nate said, listen, I'm going to do what's right. So either you tell them or I will tell them what's going on, or whatever. And so Ashlyn says, well, I'm done with this conversation or whatever. And he gets up and leaves, right? So then now going back to Victoria and Nick, while she's right on the verge of saying, I don't trust this man, Nick. Ashlyn comes in and he says, oh, I should have known you Newmans are relentless. And he's just like, so it was Victor, Adam, Nikki, and now you trying to tell Victoria, that I've been lying to her or whatever. And Nick said, you darn right, we're relentless when it comes to protecting our own. And he says, I'm not here I don't care about you. I'm not here to talk about you. I'm not here to badmouth you. I'm here to let Victoria know that I'm here for her and I protect her and I love her. And so he tells Victoria, if you need anything, let me know. So then he leaves, right? Nick leaves and Ashlyn is like, can you believe this or whatever? And Victoria looks at him and you can see it in her face. She believes this. And so Ashlyn is like, what's wrong? And she just grabs him and hugs him. And Nick is outside because don't nobody ever close their office door. And he sees this, right? He sees this going on. So he calls Victor. Now, Victor is at Adam's office. Now, Adam and Victor have been talking this whole time, right? And Adam is like, hey, what's going on? Because Sally was at the office, but Sally was listening at the door, and she just hears Victor telling Adam, Nick is gonna talk to her. I know he really believes Nick can get through to Victoria, and Nick was getting through to Victoria. He's like, we're gonna take care of it. And Adam was like, this is not a plan. We need to go to plan B, C, D, E, F, G. He was like, we need more than a plan. And so Adam's plan, child. And they also talk about Michael Baldwin and how Victor has his people looking for him. Now, remember that, because Adam's plan, y'all, is for them to leak the information to the press and try to keep Victoria out of it. And Victor says, no, that is not going to work. Like, what are you talking about? So he was like, no, we're not going to do that. And Adam went on about that. And I was like, okay, let's move on from that, because y'all not going to do that, Adam. So then Adam just says, do you are the accusations true? Because if he's co-CEO, because Victor told him that Victoria made him co-CEO, and first of all, Adam was like, when was you planning on telling me? And Victor was like, I've been busy. I've been dealing with other stuff. He was like, we're all been busy. But Adam has this thing with Victor where he wants to have a close relationship. He wants to be like Victor's right-hand man or whatever. He wants him to trust him and rely on him and need him the way he does Nick. But so it is what it is. You got to learn how to play your role. But anyways, so Victor is just like, we're not going to do any scheming or anything like that. But he's like, Adam is like, why are you so calm? Like, this is not a calm moment. And he's like, no, everything's going to work out and we're going to be on top. So that's why Adam is like, are the claims against Ashland Eva legit? And Victor said, what? Because he went ahead and was CEO or whatever. Like, there's a list of evidence. I don't have to make this stuff up or whatever. And at that time, Nick called, and Nick says, hey, I talked to Victoria. He called Victor. He put him on speaker and he said, yeah, I talked to Victoria and I was making leeway, but Ashland came in and I think I lost the ground that I gained. And, Victor is just like, thank you for, trying or whatever. And so now Adam's like, okay, so what are we about to do or whatever? Because you're too calm for me. And at that time, Nate comes in. See, Nate, after he's talked to Ashland, Nate went and talked to Elana, and he told her everything that was going down, and about Ashland not being sick, because he looked in the files and everything. And Elana was like, listen, I don't blame you for looking. Like, this man had us at dinner. He flew us out to Italy for his wedding. You were his best man. We've eaten with him. We've become really great friends. And Nate was like, and I can't believe that I thought this billionaire just was like wanting to be friends. And he was like, he played me. And she was like, yeah, like it's looking like it, because that's despicable and disgusting. If he really didn't have cancer, for him to use us for a cover, like a beard, so that he could deceive the Newman family, like he deceived the whole family. And she's asking him, so what are you going to do? And Nate just tells her that he wanted to go to the Newmans, and she said, if it were me, I would be going to them. I would be telling them what I know. I would tell Victoria. And he said, well, that's what I was going to do. He said, but this man was willing to cover up having cancer to get what he want. Like, he lied about having cancer to get what he wanted. There's what would he do to me? If I told this, what would he do? And so Nate, it looked like he was wavering on if he was going to tell or not, right? So meanwhile, while Nate and Elena are having this conversation, I'll be back to him and Victor. While they're having this conversation, we see that Sally has went and talked to Sharon, and she's asking for information on how she can better assist Adam as far as being with the company. And so Sharon was like, listen, I'm not going to bring up anything about my past relationship or what my past was with Adam or everything, but I can try to help you as much as I can. So they sit down and talk, and what they come to the conclusion was that Adam needs to stop wanting Victor's approval so much. If he stopped doing that, then he would be cool. Now, while they're talking, Nick comes in. So Sally is like, okay, thank you so much for talking to me or whatever. And so she leaves. And then Nick comes over and he's like, Sharon, what was that about? And Sharon was like, she was just wanting, to see how the dynamic, if I had any information on the dynamic between Adam and Victor. And Nick was like, listen, if you find that answer, let me know. And so he just tells her about speaking to Victoria and everything, and she says, I promise you, Victoria is stronger than what y'all think, and when she really gets all this information and has time to comprehend it all, she's going to do the right thing. She's going to know that y'all were trying to protect her or whatever. So that was that with them. So now Sally is leaving. But before she leaves, she sees Chelsea, Chloe, and Lauren. So Chelsea, Chloe, and Lauren have been having a conversation. Now, Chelsea and Chloe are talking to Lauren about their business and stuff. And Lauren said, listen, I ain't hearing nothing y'all said. I'm like, Dad. And they were like, oh, how is Michael? I'm like, so y'all just sit here and didn't ask this woman has she found out anything about Michael, but we're going to moving past. So Lauren is like, she's very worried because Michael doesn't go this long. And she said she knows Kevin said, wait, we'll do a missing persons report in the morning if we haven't heard from him. But she don't know if she can wait this long. So that's all they were really talking about. And then they made her feel better by telling her, like, Michael is so resourceful. If anything has happened to him, you don't have to worry. He going to find his way back home, and he going to talk his way out of it and use his resourcefulness to get out of it. And she was like, yeah, y'all right. Okay, y'all right. So she's feeling better, right? Well, here comes Sally talking about, I couldn't help but over here, but I just wanted you to know Victor's doing everything, has people looking into this. Now, you're running your mouth too much, Sally. Nobody told you to give this information. And so Lauren was like, thank you for telling me that. So now I know Victor wasn't truthful with me when he was telling me everything was okay about Michael and stuff. And so Sally is like, oh my God, what have I done? So Lauren is like, thank you. And Lauren's going to get up because she's finna go and find her husband, because she was wanting to go to Peru earlier. And so Chelsea and Chloe was like, girl, to Sally. And Chelsea was like, Sally was like, I didn't mean to make that worse. And Chelsea was like, we just got her calmed down, and here you go giving her that information. And Chloe said, okay, maybe she shouldn't have given the information. But honestly, if I was Lauren, because Lauren she really did thank Sally for telling her that. She said, I think she should know too. Maybe not at this time, but she should know that something's going on with Michael. I agree. And so Sally is like, can we be friends or whatever? Can we just reset to Chloe and then Chelsea? Can we be cordial towards each other? Chelsea said, listen, we're not going to ever be friends. And she said, well, okay, acquaintance that tolerate each other. And I was like, okay, we could do that. And so that's how that ended there. So then we go back to Nate, so Adam and Victor are still talking, and Nate and Adam is like, what is your next move? Like, we need some plans to come up with here if he's already CEO of the company or whatever. So then at this time, Nate knocks on the door and says, good evening, gentlemen, or excuse me, something like that. And he says, he tells Victor, I have some information for you. And now Victor got up for this. He was like, what is it? And Nate says, that smoking gun you were looking for, I have it. So Nate is going to do the right thing. Because for a minute there, when he was talking to Elena, and he was like, dang, if Ashland will do that, is that manipulative and will do go to that extent to cover up his lies and stuff, what he gonna do to me? Like, what would he do to me or someone who's about to expose him? And so I thought Nate wasn't gonna tell, but Nate was like, mm-mm, I got to tell this information. So I'm glad he did. He is giving it out because one, Nate feels very used because he's like, Elena was like, we are two doctors as his friends. And she said, you just consulted. You never looked at his medical records or anything. Like, you weren't on his medical staff. You weren't one of the people that he went to for, um, you were not one of the people that he went to. You were not his doctor, is what she was saying. Sorry about that. So there was no way you could have known. And she was like, honestly, I don't blame you. He was like, I broke medical, codes. And she was like, listen, for what Ashland is being accused of and how he probably used you, I don't blame you for that. So that's that. Victoria knows that Ashland been lying to her. She just doesn't want to admit it. But I think by the end of I think next week it's all gonna just like fall. The cliffhanger for me, I think, is going to be that next week where Victoria is all this information is gonna come out. Now, how Michael gonna work up in this? I just think he gonna pop up. He's just gonna pop up and be like, I'm back, because but it could go deeper into them having to go to Peru. I don't know. I don't know. But this is good. It was actually a good episode to me because they're moving it along. Because for the longest, they were just stuck on not having the information and not telling Victoria. Now she knows, and we're starting to see her thought process, which is moving it along. Other people are getting involved, which helps. So it was a good episode. It was solid to me today. So that was The Young and the Restless. I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode.